What's going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here, and in this video, I'm making a list of the things that I and the general Destiny community hope to see implemented in Destiny 2 in 2025. At the start of December, I made a community post asking people what they would like to see addressed in Destiny 2. The post had well over 100 comments as of the making of this video, and many of the points were ubiquitous across the comments, and others were great suggestions that I hadn't really thought of. So thank you to everyone who commented and provided feedback. It was very helpful. While I may not get every pain point that was mentioned, I did try to incorporate basically all of the feedback into this one video. The topics range from minor nitpicks to some far bigger overhauls, but all of them are changes that I think would add value and joy to the game. I do also want to preface this by saying that Bungie has been absolutely killing it with the quality of life additions over the years. From adding in-game loadouts to an entire in-game LFG, these changes have no doubt made the user experience better for everyone. But there is always room to improve, and that is what this video aims to do, to provide feedback for Bungie on things that the community may want. Now, I and presumably much of my community are not game developers, so some of these suggestions may be really difficult to implement in practice, so we may never see them. But the point of this video is to compile everything that we wish the game could have in a perfect world. So the first one is a small one, but it would help me greater when trying to design my characters, and that is a search tool for the shaders. The shader designs were reworked a while ago, and I have literally never gotten used to them. I don't know what basically any shader is anymore by just looking at it. Yes, we have the favorite system, and this was a great addition, but for me it still isn't enough. I just want to be able to search for a certain shader and find it. And other people suggested being able to organize shaders in certain ways, like have submenus. All purple shaders in this one, all green shaders in that one. These things would go a long way to saving time when styling your character. And speaking of search tools and organizing things better, a vault overhaul would be greatly appreciated. Being able to organize your vault and search for things in-game would be awesome. I've sang the praises of Destiny Item Manager a lot in the past, but it would be nice to have a system as close to as good as DIM in the actual game. On this topic, a vault inventory increase would be greatly appreciated as well. Long-term players who play all three characters and both PvP and PvE are always stuck with near full vaults. I know Bungie has directly addressed that changes are coming here in 2025, so let's hope they knock it out of the park. This is a quick one, but quit giving every fucking boss a slam attack. A Servitor and a Hydra should not have a slam attack. They are floating enemies. It's dumb, it doesn't make sense, and it's lazy enemy design. Another quick one, photo mode in this game would be amazing. A lot of people would really appreciate this, including myself. I recently watched a video from Jez on his wife playing Destiny as a non-gamer. It was very wholesome, extremely well done, and super entertaining, but it showed a glaring issue for Bungie. The new game experience is still horrendous. I could go on, but the point of this video is more to address shortcomings than actually coming up with solutions. I will leave that to the devs. Suffice to say, the new game experience needs a lot of work. Destiny is bleeding long-term players, and very few players are entering, and for good reason. The barrier to entry is massive, so they need to do a lot to fix it. They need a comprehensive onboarding experience with something that explains everything that a Guardian has to know, how to navigate the menus, where to play PvP, etc. I know most things about Destiny, so I don't know what all to add here, but by all accounts, the onboarding experience is atrocious. And in that same vein, this one applies far more to me, but I think it would help the other players learn the game easier, and that is actual damage values. Sure, it's nice to know that Tractor Cannon weakens an enemy, but literally all it says in-game is that it makes it more vulnerable to incoming damage. What the hell does that even mean? I want to know the exact amount it weakens. Sure, I know that it's 30%, but a new player doesn't. I want to know exactly how long it lasts. I want to know that it suppresses enemies, but I also want to know exactly what suppression does and how long that lasts, and that it's capable of stunning overload champions. You shouldn't have to go online to a spreadsheet like the Destiny Data Compendium to figure out these values. Every value in that spreadsheet should be available in-game. Inovation gives grenade energy for picking up an orb of power. How much grenade energy? Oh, and that energy changes based on the grenade you're running? Well, how would I know that? Spark of Recharge increases grenade and melee regen rate. By how much? How long does it last? Etc. All of these values should be in-game in some form, be it on a menu page or ideally when you look at the actual mod itself. We already have an external tab that shows lore, so maybe you could put in an external tab that shows the values of all these different mods and fragments and such. Exotics should have values for everything that they do. It is annoying testing and figuring this stuff out, and it is probably quite annoying for players to have to go on YouTube to have someone like me explain it to them. Give the players this knowledge. Thank you. Next, a more organized director would be great. One node that is just called raids and it shows all the raids and what ones are in the weekly rotation. Same with dungeons. I'm a veteran and I still have trouble remembering where I have to go to launch certain dungeons. And on the topic of the rotator, we do get tweets from the Destiny 2 or Bungie help team about what that week features, but this should be a featured menu in the game. Show what the nightfall is and what the reward is, what is dropping double loot or double XP for the week. I have thousands of hours in this game and I don't even know where to find this info in game. I have to go to Twitter. That's not good game design. Another one that would be nice, but I am not sure how feasible it is, could be to get all the old raids back. Leviathan and the raid layers associated with it, Scourge of the Past, Crown of Sorrows, that would be really damn cool. Those were amazing pieces of content and it sucks they're no longer in the game. And if you could add even more activities, then that would be awesome, and keeping all the exotic missions in the game would be really nice. Granted, I don't even like some of them, but they are pretty cool pieces of content. At least we got Whisper and Zero Hour back. And on that same note, it would be really cool if older raids and dungeons got brought up to today's power, so that we can't just stomp a boss like Morgeth in 3 seconds and one-shot Dullankaru with a Wardcliff coil. Next, some people want match-made everything, which I can't really argue with. If you want to take your chances with blueberries, be my guest, but I do think it's a decent idea. But I would like to see it toggleable, and that way you can toggle out of matchmaking as well. I play on PC and don't have the solo script, but there are many times when I would like to just load into a Vanguard Strike solo and it sucks to not have that option. Someone also brought up storing artifacts. This may wreck game balance, but it would also open up loadout variety massively. It would be fun to try particle deconstruction again. But even if we couldn't use the artifact, it would be really nice to go back and look at old artifact perks in game. For the last couple of years, I've started recording the artifact and keeping it in a folder just so I can preserve the artifacts and look back on certain mods if I have to reference them in the future. It would be really nice though if they were accessible in game. Another one was easier access to bounties, and I think that would be great. Flying to a destination to grab them is annoying. Yes, we have the companion app, but again, it would be nice to not have to rely on third-party apps and websites. And speaking of third-party apps and websites, people also mentioned having info like what D2 Foundry and D2 Armor Picker have. I already talked about having more info in game, so having info about the weapon perks like D2 Foundry has would be awesome. And then having an organizer like D2 Armor Picker in game would really help the general community make more optimized builds. Someone also suggested a ping system, which I think would be a great idea. Instead of having to type in chat heavy when I'm pulling the heavy crate in Onslaught, I could just ping it. This would also have tons of functionality for raid mechanics and stuff. It would be a great addition to the game. Next up is a rework to resources. First, remove the damn caps. If a player has 100 Ascendant Shards, then they will have no trouble grinding from 0 to 30 on a double loot GM week. So just let them hold whatever they may want. It is a needless thing to cap these resources, but Ascendant Shards and Alloys are the least of my problems. Ever since the deprecation of Legendary Shards, Glimmer has actually been one of my most coveted resources, and ironically, it's probably the easiest one to obtain. I would like to be able to have resource trading. You can spend up to buy enhancement cores and then prisms and finally shards, but why can't we spend down? Why can't I dismantle an Ascendant Shard or Ascendant Alloy for like 200,000 Glimmer? Or at least something. Why can you only buy up and not down? And I wish the Glimmer cap was like 10 million at this point. Again, chill on the resource caps. And on the topic of that, also get rid of the cap on the Transmog Resources. It's stupid. Also, when we go to buy something like Glimmer or raid banners, let us run up a tally. Say you want to buy 99 raid banners, do that, and then make it cost whatever it costs, rather than having to buy 10 at a time over and over. And in that same vein, some other people said they want a mass delete button, which is a good idea too. One that I would love to see is a catalyst for Xenophage that gives it either field prep or air trigger. Also, Anarchy and 1k catalysts when. On that topic, how about just giving every exotic weapon a catalyst? I know right now we only get like 1 new one a season, but if we could up that to like 10 until they all have catalysts, that would be amazing. For the Crucible, give us map voting, please. This was in Call of Duty like 15 years ago. There's no excuse not to have it in the game. If we are going to keep light level, then have it based on slot, for the love of God. We have well over 100 exotic armor pieces and exotic weapons in the game, and it sucks ass to have to level every single one up if you want to use it in a build. It feels really bad. I know they mitigated this to a degree by having exotic weapons pull from collections at powerful cap instead of pinnacle cap, but still, It feels really bad having to level all your gear every time the light level ceiling gets raised. But if it was slot based, you would just have to upgrade your arm slot once and then all your arm pieces are now that light level. I'm sure this is super difficult to do in practice as the game is designed around upgrading individual pieces of gear, but again, this is a wish list of things that would be nice to have. Someone also mentioned weapon kill trackers. This was a good point. It would be cool if we could see all of our Crucible kills as well as enemies defeated in PvE, rather than having to switch the tracker all the time. And if you got a new and improved version of that gun, then the kills on your previous version would track over. Like say you used Blast Furnace a ton, but then switch to a better rolled Blast Furnace that you like more, it would be cool if the kills transferred. Another one is a better designed UI. Yes, Bungie did rework this in the final shape, but a lot of people seem to want to be able to see all their buffs, and I'm in this camp. I wish we had a customizable UI. That way the people that don't want all that info won't be bogged down by information overload, but the people who rely on that info because they have their build set up in such a way that it provides many different buffs should have the option to see everything that is active. On this note, someone mentioned changing enemy name bars to reflect if they are debuffed, as sometimes it's hard to tell if one is blinded, for instance. This also sounds like a welcome change. I know another thing much of the community wants is a home base type system, something to display rewards and trophies you've earned over the years. Some of the people on my post said clan housing as well as personal housing. This would be really cool. All of the seals in game have cool symbols, but what if you had a customizable ship where you could display all of your seals together? That would be pretty awesome. And a raid boss head if you beat a contest mode raid. That would be super cool. Another person said space battles since we fly ships, and this could also be cool. Something I'm not personally looking for as I love the combat in Destiny, but a cool idea nonetheless. And I don't know if we will ever get it, but also Sparrow Racing League. Again, low on my priority list, but some people seem to want it back. Next is InGame Loadouts. This was an amazing addition, but I also have like 50 pre-made builds in DIM that I honestly use semi-regularly, so I would love to see us get pages of loadouts and be able to organize those loadouts. Have a PvP page. I could have a long-range map loadout, short-range map loadout, Iron Banner loadout that has all my Iron Banner ornaments on. I think this would be really cool and would be a great addition. If you play Endless Vale, you could just swap to your short-range loadout, then, if you get Disjunction, slap on your long-range loadout. This would be really nice, but again, I love that we even have this in the game in the first place, and it has done wonders for the speedrunning community to optimize runs. I love in-game loadouts, I just wish we had more. Oh, and also have loadouts save our artifact perks. This would be a lovely addition as well. On the topic of builds, some people want more in-depth mods like we used to have. I adored the old mod system because it allowed you to get hyper specific with a build, so more mods that change up playstyles would be a welcome addition. One person said get rid of Pete Parsons, and I'm fully on board with this one. Start giving money to the devs of the game and fuck the shitty upper management who's ruining the studio. It's not an in-game change, but one that would drastically improve the quality of the game for everyone who loves it and not just the out-of-touch assholes who only care about making money off of it. And speaking of shitty game design that they are probably encouraging, let's chill with the time gating. Let players play at their own pace, and even in smaller ways. In Onslaught, make the buy phase skippable. This would save minutes over the course of a run. I know it sounds small, but it's boring to wait for stuff in the game when you're just trying to slay out. Another one where I'm not sure how viable it is, but some people want crafting to be done from the menu instead of the enclave. It's probably pretty low on the priority list, but I figured I'd mention it. And speaking of this, more ways to get double and triple perks on weapons. If you could craft one weapon with multiple perks, that would be even better. Even if it costs a lot, I don't think people would care. And make Trials resets and Iron Banner resets increase the perk chances like it does for Strikes, Crucible, and Vanguard weapons. And speaking of crafting, Ergo Sum and exotic class items have done a number on a lot of people's vaults, so once you unlock those perks, it would be cool if they were unlocked permanently and you could just make a craftable class item or Ergo Sum. Just something to consider. Another one is the exotic cipher from Xur. If you beat it one week and turn it in, then you can't grab it for the next week. This is very weird and annoying. Please fix this. The last one is my biggest wish of all. I want a full-on testing zone. We had the Tribute Hall and it was decent, but I want that times 100. I want to be able to spawn in every single enemy so I can test on it. I want to have a place to reliably show the community that you cannot proc bait and switch on a Thresher for some reason. And then I want to test exactly how Deconstruct works on that same Thresher, and how Deconstruct works on anything else in Destiny in a controlled environment. I want to show the community how a regular melee hit does 120% more damage to a frozen target, but this does not work with Wormgod's Caress for some reason. And again, to reiterate, I want this done in a controlled environment, where you can reliably set up the tests to show the results. Not where I have to go to the Nessus Lost Sector for the billionth time and jump through a million hoops just to melee Carl to show it, only to realize I have unstable essence from those stupid ass war beasts, so it threw the numbers off and now I have to do it again. I don't want to have to jump through a million hoops to test every Star Eater super. From going to rally a flag to get my super, and then pick up 6 orbs, and then do the test, only to have my golden gun shot get flinched, and then I have to redo it all. I just want an orb generator to give me my stacks, and not have to drive around Nessus or the EDZ looking for a flag to rally. Just have unlimited ammo, and bosses with massive health pools to really show things off. Carl often dies in like one shot to certain things. I could go on and on with more and more examples of things I would test if I could, but for some fucked up reason, we don't have a goddamn testing ground in this game. It drives me nuts, and it's one thing that's pushing me away from Destiny. And I think all that pretty much summarizes the list, at least for me and my community. I know other communities want more secrets in Destiny and harder endgame content and exclusive flexes that only the best players can get. Remember Redrick's Claymore and Not Forgotten? Those were awesome weapon chases that encouraged the community to grow and improve, and I'd love to see stuff like that brought back. But yeah, this is a long enough list, and if we get even half these things mentioned in 2025, it would go a long way to improving the game. Myself and others have talked at length about how buggy the game is, so fixing those things up would be very nice as well. Anyways, I have a community Discord and I'm streaming on Twitch more, so check those out in the description if you're interested. And also, if you're not subscribed yet, do your boy a solid and hit the sub button. It would be cool to start the new year off with some awesome growth. Lastly, if you're still here, thanks so much for watching to the end. You rock. Thanks to my community for all the feedback and for all the love and support in 2024. It means so much to me. Sound off in the comments on anything you want that I may have missed in the video. I wish you all a happy and healthy new year and hope 2025 is a banger for all of us. Take care.